Yeah, come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now 14 shopping days left until Christmas, or 8 days as we release this. Time is getting very short, y'all. But it's time once again for Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies, TV shows, all that fun stuff all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I will be your host for this evening. Here with me tonight is my co-host, Johnny Five, the human robot. J-Man, what is cracking?
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome back. We
Thank
missed you on the last episode.
I was on the last episode.
Oh, that's right. You were our field correspondent for political chat. That's true.
Yeah.
Inside baseball for the people at Christmas Creeps HQ. Hey, so yeah, we're deep in the heart of the holiday season right now. I mean, it's December 11th.
I get it. It's because the show is in Texas.
Clap, 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 clap. This is going to be that kind of episode tonight, folks, because tonight we're talking about one of the King of the Hill Christmas episodes. It's been a long time since we've talked about any of these. I think our original plan was going to be that we watched all of the Christmas episodes in sequence, and we hit a point where Bill has a nervous breakdown and starts wearing dresses, and I think we just decided it wasn't fun anymore. So we stopped. And now that we've picked it back up again, we kind of realize, oh, right, the Christmas episodes of King of the Hill are actually very depressing.
Yeah, King of the Hill is a weird show.
I hate to say that because it's my favorite show, but in this instance, yes, it very much is. I'm looking at our notes here. I think the last King of the Hill we talked about was, back in 2017, we talked about Hillenium, which isn't even a Christmas episode. It's a New Year's episode. And we never touched it again until tonight, friends. The episode tonight, it is episode 2 of season 9 from 2004, Miss Wakefield, which, we're talking about this on like the 20th anniversary of this episode, which is crazy. But before we get into that, I just want to do a quick check-in with you. J-Man, how's your holiday season going?
It's going. I got to get the car fixed. The heater is not working in it, which has not been a problem until, now.
Right. It's freaking cold out tonight, so you need that heater.
Yeah, had some family things kind of get resolved. Don't need to get into those, but they're getting resolved, so it's up on the up. Holidays are always just kind of, I don't like December. I don't like January. I don't like February.
I get it, because like you take all the regular crap that's happening all the time and you add holiday rush madness to it, and it's just like, the regular shit never stops.
Yeah, and then on top of that, add cold, and then also the sun sets at like 2 p.m.
This is true. And then add on top of that, one of your podcast pals has to go and get married and have, throw a huge party that takes up all of his free time for the next month. And, lo and behold, all of a sudden it's the middle of December. What the hell happened to my November?
Thanks a lot, Brad.
Thanks a lot, Brad. No. We, Nikki and I had a party after we got married and invited a bunch of our friends in town. You got to see Bradford, got to see our friend Libby, which was wonderful. And now that that's all behind us, I can just sit and enjoy Christmas, which, on December 11th, it kind of feels like Christmas is already over.
Yeah, it's like I already bought a box of cherry cordials and ate them all. I already bought a tin of Purelines. I've eaten most of them. What else do you do on Christmas?
I mean, you watch Christmas movies, which nowadays you start that in the middle of November. So by the middle of December, you're all Christmased out. Like there's nothing else to watch. There's nothing else to do. It's this weird kind of like halftime lull period between Thanksgiving and actual Christmas, where I think the Christmas creep, as it were, kind of goes away. And we're going to start to get into that period now, running up to Christmas, where all the Christmas stuff starts to disappear. Like the tree farms are going to close down. All the Valentine's and Easter shit's going to be in the stores. It's going to be a really strange couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is kind of the dog catching the car of Christmas creep.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, well, it's here now. What do we do? I'm tired of it.
Yeah, we just get excited for next product.
Yeah. Enjoy this holiday and get excited for next holiday.
But yeah, Karen and I, about the only tradition we have is that sometime, usually Christmas Eve, but sometime, give or take a week around Christmas, we'll get like a summer sausage and cheese and some water crackers and then just watch Christmas Vacation.
You know, that's a tradition I can get behind. I'm into that. I mean, for me, it's was it the Hillshire Farms like cheese ball? That's the one that I go for.
Ooh, nice.
I love those. But I'm gonna try and be good and not do that to myself this year. You know, but you know what I am gonna do to myself this year?
What's that?
Crack open a cold one.
Nice.
I think I had this on our last episode, but I'm not sure. Tonight, friends, I've got a Narragansett White Christmas Winter Warmer, which, you know, has Bing Crosby's smiling face on it. And I don't know if that makes it taste any better, but it sure is a Narragansett.
Nice.
Hi, neighbor. I don't know if you've got anything to share with us tonight, but...
Nah, not right now.
Okay,
I just get some water from the toilet, if anything, but I'm good for right now.
What do you mean water out of the toilet? Like,
yeah, that's where water comes from.
You should be drinking Brawndo, buddy.
Am I a plant?
I mean, no, you're a robot. It's what robots crave, isn't it?
Robots crave old people's medicine for fuel.
No, I saw The Wizard of Oz. Robots crave oil.
That too. Here's the thing. So I'm guessing Will Ferrell has a lot of control over Elf as like a franchise or a media property, right?
Does he really?
He must, because of I know why there's not a sequel, because he's basically said, no, fuck you, I'm not doing a sequel.
Yeah, that
true. Has to be why there's not.
That's
what
true.
I'm wondering is, how is there not a young buddy Elf prequel? And it must be because Will Ferrell has the clout to say no to that and not let them like use the property for somehow.
Well, there's like everything but, because I know there's a Buddy the Elf like animated like musical. I know there's actually a Broadway musical of Elf, but there's no like origin story, there's no prequel, there's no sequel, there's no none of that. It's just anything,
yeah, I'm honestly surprised.
Anything they can do to get away with like doing it without Will Ferrell, they will do it. But like up to it, including an official like another Elf movie, they're not gonna touch it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, how is there not a movie where it's just young Buddy, basically, where you just have a child screaming Santa, and that's the entire movie, basically? I
mean, they made that. It was called Arthur Christmas.
That's true.
And we saw how well that turned out. Actually, no, that's a cute little movie. We did an episode on that like a bajillion years ago.
Yeah. Nobody needs to watch Red One, right?
I don't think so. I mean, we kept saying like this is like Red One was like the big thing on our radar, and we just never touched it. I feel like if Redbox still existed, it would be a Red Boxing Day in January.
Yeah,
but I'm not in any hurry, you know.
Nah, not at all.
Especially now that it kind of bombed and nobody remembers it, even in the middle of December. I feel less bad about not doing it.
Yeah, I know exactly one person who said they watched Red One. They said it was not worth the trip to the theater.
That's not surprising, really. I mean, there's only room for one J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus movie, and it ain't Red One. Excuse me, this Narragansett's getting to me.
Should we talk about King of the Hill then?
Yeah, I guess we need to talk about King of the Hill. I wanted to. Oh no! What I wanted to say before we get into King of the Hill, 2 Christmas movies I did watch that I did want to briefly touch on, because I don't think we're ever going to do full episodes on them. And now that I say that, we're definitely doing that. The first one obviously is Hot Frosty, which Nikki and I watched the other night, kind of by accident. And it is exactly as stupid and knowingly dumb as you would think a Hallmark movie would be, but also because it knows that, it has jokes about how stupid it is, and therefore it's actually kind of funny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is thin ice when you are knowingly making a stupid movie.
It's kind of on the level of Pottersville,
Okay.
You know, where you can tell they had an idea and like they're marketing it as like a Hallmark type romance movie, but also it's just chock full of like actual comedians whose job is just to make jokes.
There you go.
Like the villain is Craig Robinson and his partner is Joe Latrulio. So right there, like those two kind of carry the movie, but also the guy they get to play the hot Frosty is actually a very funny actor. So I'm of two minds of it. Like on the one hand, it's not for me. It's super duper not for me, but also, man, it's actually kind of funny. Damn it. And then switching gears, the other one I saw was Dear Santa, which is the Jack Black as Satan movie, where a dyslexic kid writes a letter to Santa and instead it goes to Satan. And I knew I was in trouble when the opening credits started and said it was it's one of the Farrelly brothers directed it. And so right there I was like, okay, so it's going to be 20 minutes too long and it's not going to know how to end. And sure enough, it had no clue how to end itself.
Oh no.
It got very maudlin and very preachy, and it could have been so cool, you know? But then Jack Black is there.
Yeah, Jack Black, yeah.
I mean, that's all you need to say. And then I guess my final comment on Dear Santa is the type of movie that it is. They've already made this movie, and it works so much better, and it's called Psycho Goreman. Have you seen Psycho Goreman?
No.
Psycho Goreman is a great like sci-fi comedy where like two kids dig up an alien gem that controls this horrifying satanic demon monster thing who has to do their bidding because they control it with this gem. And so they make all these like asinine wishes and tell it to do all these asinine things because they're kids and they don't know any better. And it occurred to me during Dear Santa that like the way to do this is to have the kid just be a little asshole and wish for horrible things that no one should wish for. But
are you just describing the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
Kind of. But that's not what this is. It's more I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There's a lot of talk of dead children, and it's just unpleasant. It's unpleasant. But yeah, that's my Christmas watching for the season. Let's jump straight into talking about King of the Hill and Miss Wakefield. J-Man, what is Miss Wakefield about?
She's about to die.
I guess, yeah. To talk about this episode, let me start by asking you this question. If I came to your house and asked if you would let me die in your house, would you say yes?
I wouldn't answer the fucking door. Like, I'd be like, you have my phone number. Why the hell are you coming to my house?
I mean, aside from the fact that I do know where you live, that's not really the point.
No, if some random person came up to my house and was like, oh, I used to live here, I'd be like, that's cool. You don't now. Go away.
Like, that's a weird enough thing in this day and age to, like, find the house you used to live in and then actually ask to see the inside of it. Which, you know, I've driven by the house I used to live in as a child. Never once did I ever consider stopping and talking to the current tenants. That's just like, no. That's a horrible thing to do. But Miss Wakefield does that. Miss Wakefield is an old lady who shows up at Hank Hill's house and claims that she and her sister used to live there when she was a small child. And her ulterior motive is that she wants to die in the house. Also, it's Christmas time, so that's great.
Yeah, she wants to die in the house because her sister had a heart attack and died there.
Right.
Which does throw a little bit of like Simpsons time logic here of like, okay, how long has Hank been living there that this predates that, you know?
I thought about this. I was wondering this too. Because if you assume that Hank and Peggy lived in the house before they had Bobby, which we know from the series, they've at least lived in this house for like, what, 12 or 13 years?
Yeah.
So Miss Wakefield is, I'm guessing, at least 80 years old. So her sister had to have died in her mid-60s at the very latest. So Miss Wakefield's the one who sold the house to Hank, correct?
That has to be it, yeah.
But then it doesn't make sense because Miss Wakefield doesn't know Hank before she shows up at the door.
She must have moved out, and then like the realtor sold her or something like that, or there was another tenant in between or something.
Or maybe the family took care of it. There's no way to know that for sure, but so it's entirely possible that her sister died right before Hank and Peggy moved in. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there's a possibility that there's not much of a gap between the sister dying and Hank and Peggy moving in.
Right, and in fact, it kind of makes sense, and it kind of tracks that's why they sold the house. Wow, this is a great topic of discussion for a Christmas episode of a Christmas podcast.
It's a great topic for a fucking Christmas episode of your cartoon.
Right. And I think the show knows it because there's like 2 or 3 other different little runners throughout the episode that have nothing to do with anything. Specifically, Dale Gribble's attempt to find something for Nancy for Christmas. And he hits on the idea of turning their house into a bed and breakfast, which is immediately just a horrible idea. But then, oh God. So remind me how this goes. So he keeps trying to field these ideas to Boomhauer, who is very non-committal throughout the entire episode. And I kind of thought the joke was going to be Boomhauer's not going to say a goddamn thing. But his answers are very like, or, until Dale hits on the idea of a haunted bed and breakfast, and then Boomhauer's kind of on board. And Dale wants to, what's the right word? He wants to hire Miss Wakefield to die in his house so that she will haunt it for the bed and breakfast.
I love one of my favorite lines. It's like I don't expect much, but I do expect quality.
Right.
And also Peggy had probably the best line of the episode where she's like, I like old people as much as anyone should.
Yes. My favorite little touch is when Miss Wakefield's in the house and Peggy's trying to get her out by saying, oh no, we don't have time. We don't have any coffee. We can't offer you coffee. And the moment Miss Wakefield pays Peggy like the slightest compliment, Peggy just turns around, pulls the coffee can back out and says, oh yeah, we have coffee. Peggy is, depending on how you feel about the show, Peggy's either the best or the worst character. And she is the worst character, but that also makes her the best character.
She's the worst person and therefore the best character might be the way to slice it.
Because like every interaction with her is a game, and she's always trying to find the angle and the one-upsmanship and like what is in this for me. Kind of like Dale Gribble, but she's Hank's wife, and that makes it just that much more desperate, and it makes her that much funnier. And yeah. So
it's like Dale's shenanigans are cheeky and fun, and Peggy's are evil shenanigans.
Yeah, Peggy's shenanigans will actively like get people hurt because she doesn't know better.
So yeah, they have this old woman who's trying to die in their house, and she is like straight up trespassing, breaking and entering. Like she is, in a normal word, is like, oh, you're going to die on the sidewalk when you get fucking shot, lady.
Yeah,
that's like, the compromise.
Like she literally is trying to like scratch her way into the house through the windows, and Hank calls the police on her, which is apparently not a very bad look when all the neighbors come out to watch her be dragged away. But I don't understand. See, this is where the episode gets this is where it falls apart for me, because this is one of those cases where Hank is obviously right and everybody doesn't want him to be.
Yeah, it's one of the show's general conceits is that even though Hank is kind of a fucking goober, Hank is the only sane man because everyone else is even more of a goober than Hank.
Right. Hank is the only person who is smart enough to know what's going on. Except in apparently this case, because he kicks her out of the house, has her arrested, and then he's just persona non grata for, I guess, the rest of the episode. Until everybody sees what Miss Wakefield is doing right in front of their faces, because she shows up at the Christmas party that they're having, and Hank finally just says, "Okay, just die in the house. See if I care." And all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's kind of gross and weird, guys. You think?
You don't say.
You don't say. Though I will say, during the Christmas party, my favorite touch in this episode is like the Christmas music is playing, and of course, the Christmas music that Hank would be listening to is Willie Nelson singing "Frosty the Snowman."
Yeah,
that is 100% a Hank Hill choice, and it's also like it's one of the few choices in this episode that makes sense, because this is just it's a bummer of an episode. I'll say that. I'll cop straight to it and say this is a bummer.
Yeah, because nobody's a good person in this episode, because I mean, Miss Wakefield is just insane. All of the neighbors are just kind of being jerks to Hank, because they're just like, it's just like from like, I'm just picturing like Happy Gilmore being like, "How do you do this to her? She's old." And that's all people are saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't do that to her. She's too old. I mean, you can, especially if she's trespassing and being a nuisance. What are you going to do? Just let old people do what they want? I mean, yeah, I guess. That's all we ever do in this fucking country, is let old people do what they want.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, I guess a couple of final thoughts on Miss Wakefield.
Yeah, it ends with she decides that maybe she doesn't need to immediately die at the Christmas party. It might be a little bit of a party foul.
Right.
And then it ends with she's just at the Christmas party now.
Right. And then Hank says the thing that he probably should have said in the first place, which was just, you don't have to come back just to die. You can come back just to visit.
Yeah.
Which I think would have solved the entire episode, but then also there would be no episode. Which is kind of the sign of a bad episode, if you're being honest. But yes.
I do love you were mentioning the IMDb trivia was kind of light on this one.
Yes, there is literally one piece of trivia for this episode, and it is just something that I've already said, which is this is the last Christmas themed episode of King of the Hill.
Yeah, the King of the Hill fandom wiki has another bit that I like, which says John Redcorn says he shows up to Hank's party only because Bill's a Secret Santa and Bill always gives good gifts. And it says that this is not established in the other Christmas episodes that Bill gives good gifts. You never see Bill giving any gift at all, let alone a good one.
Right, because at the end of the episode, Bill's the one who winds up getting a gift, and he says the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah, oh God. Ugh.
Like, is this the nose trimmer that Bill's been wanting? And Bill goes, "I hope it's hungry." But then also, I need to point this out. On the IMDb listing for the parents guide for this episode, I don't understand who creates the parents guides and like how they decide this stuff or why. And I'll probably put a link to this in the show notes because it's not on the main site. I pulled this off the mobile site. But the mobile site for the parents guide for this episode says sex and nudity, no votes yet. Profanity, no votes yet. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking, no votes yet. Violence and gore, severe. Frightening and intense scenes, severe. And I want to know who hurt the person that rated this episode. Like, I want to know what they thought was so horrifying.
I guess they're just like characters are having physical altercations and there's mentions of death and they're just being like, oh my stars and garters. I do love IMDb's parents guides though, because it runs the gamut of just being like, oh yeah, there's a fight, and just being like, here's a play-by-play of every single violent thing in the movie.
Right. My favorite guides are the ones that actually like chronicle and tabulate every instance of every swear word. Just because that's fun reading for me.
Yeah.
10 S words, 7 D words, 3 F words, and a partridge in a pear tree. Ugh. Again, the last note that I only just discovered tonight, Miss Wakefield is voiced by Marion Ross, which I did not know. It's Mrs. Cunningham from Happy Days.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, Happy Days. And I want to say this was like one of her last. No, not even close. She's still alive apparently. Born in 1928, so she's coming up on 100. Good for her.
Nice.
Her most recent credit. It says SpongeBob SquarePants from 2024. I don't know if that's true or not, though.
SpongeBob's been on for 20 years at the least, so...
Her most recent appearance was in a 2024 episode.
Wow.
As Grandma SquarePants, even.
Is she playing her... Oh, she's playing a recurring character, I assume, which that would make sense as to why she would still be doing it.
Right. It's not 5 separate characters, which would be crazy. Well,
yeah, it'd be strange if she was like just playing like passerby number 3.
She's credited as Grandma SquarePants, Grandma SquarePants, Grandma, and then just actress on TV. So,
yeah, well, we got her we already got her in the studio.
I'm not an actress on TV, but I play one on TV. Well, that's Miss Wakefield, friends. A King of the Hill episode that we neglected to talk about until now, and for good reason. Because let me tell you, this is just not the thing you want to watch at Christmas time. I don't know. I don't know why they even produced this one. Like, I know the later seasons of King of the Hill aren't great, but there are still like great episodes among those seasons. This is just not one of them, man.
Yeah,
like the first Christmas episode where Hank goes blind because he sees his mom having sex. Hilarious. The one where Bill has a nervous breakdown and starts wearing dresses. Okay, yeah, that's terrible and depressing. And then the one where Hank decides to buy everybody toilet paper for Christmas because of Y2K. Not bad. We'll put all the links to those in the show notes. But Miss Wakefield,
King of the Hill's at its best for me. Episodes like the dog dancing contest, where it's just kind of like how I view Wes Anderson movies, where it's just everyone in this world is just incredibly into a very stupid thing and treating it as normal.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, even whenever the show would go gimmicky and bring in like celebrity voice actors, they were still like very on brand for King of the Hill. Like the ZZ Top episode actually is pretty good as far as those kind of episodes go. Just the fact that they brought Tom Petty in as a main character and Lucky, it works so well as a character. Like, that's a testament to how good the show can be.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is about some of these later Christmas episodes that they just don't hit, man. I don't know.
Mike Judge is a weird guy. I'm cautiously looking forward to the revival.
I don't know, man. I saw I guess like a leaked image of like adult Bobby Hill. Yeah. And he's going to be like a celebrity chef or something, and I don't know how I feel about that.
No, he's working as a chef at Robata Chain, which the joke is both he works at Chain Wasana-song's restaurant apparently, and Chain Wasana-song's restaurant is a charcoal grill, like Japanese barbecue.
Okay. I mean, I knew the Chain Wasana-song connection. I didn't know the rest of it. That's actually very funny. Oh, no, but I'm of two minds of it. 'Cause like, on the one hand, like, yeah, I want as much King of the Hill as you're willing to give me. But
it's also interesting that they're setting it like it is now going to be a period piece where it's just 10 years after the last episode, basically.
Okay, so it's going to be a period piece where it takes place in 2019? Like immediately pre-COVID?
I'm not sure, or if it was just gonna, because like, did the show ever really date itself one way or another before?
I mean, episode to episode, kind of, but like it was more just like, this is what's going on now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
but like the show definitely did, end in 2009. So if it's doing a 10 years later thing, like that's a very specific choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's doing it as in like this takes place in 2019, or if it's just being like this takes place 10 years after the last episode. Don't think too hard about it. I'm not sure which way it's going for it.
Like just a general like everybody is 10 years older kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I'm gonna hold out hope because the revival of Beavis and Butthead was actually very good.
Yeah.
Like the movie worked better than it should have, and the series was even better than that. So I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic about new King of the Hill, but then again, I'll also believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye out on it, especially if it's just gonna be on Hulu, right? Which okay.
I think so, yeah, because that's kind of where King of the Hill lives now, anyway. Like it bounced around. It was on Netflix for a while, and then it was just gone for years. And now that Hulu and Fox is all owned by Disney, it's just it lives on Hulu now.
Yeah, every time I log into Hulu, mine's like, you should combine with the Disney. It's like, no, because I get you free from Spotify.
I see those offers too, and it's always like, yeah, you should combine with Disney and get Hulu with ads. And I'm like, but I already pay for Hulu with no ads. Why do I want that?
Like someone else already pays for Disney and gave me the password. I don't need that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I already get Hulu. I'm grandfathered into a Hulu Spotify plan, which I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare. You leave that alone, man. So the last question, I hate to even ask this question, but we have to end this episode. Would you put this episode on at a Christmas party?
Absolutely not.
I can't even finish that sentence without laughing. Fuck no. Like this is one of those like, yeah, I'd put it on to make people leave kind of things. It's just it's not particularly Christmassy. It's not particularly funny, and it's just depressing. Like
yeah.
No. And I know Christmas can be depressing for a lot of people, and I respect that. But in a show like King of the Hill, I just don't need it.
I'll say what I usually say was, the reality is depressing enough. I don't need my entertainment to be that way too.
Right. Like if I want depressing, I know where to find it.
It's outside.
Yeah, man. Go read a newspaper. Oh boy. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up tonight because we've talked it out and we've kind of said our piece. Miss Wakefield's not a great episode, but it is the last King of the Hill Christmas episode. There may be one or two more in the back catalog that we can go back to at some point, but this is us wrapping up King of the Hill, I think. So I will say we're gonna call our shot for our next episode, aren't we? We know definitely what we're gonna do for our Christmas episode, correct?
Oh yeah.
And so, friends, our Christmas episodes are ones where we treat ourselves to talk about whatever we want to on Christmas, because we talk about Christmas all year long. So Christmas Day, come back. We will be discussing the last Die Hard that matters, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Is it a Christmas movie? No, it's not. Is it a July at Christmas episode? You better believe it, buddy. This is also J-Man's pick because he's been banging that drum for Die Hard with a Vengeance for a long time, and I think it's finally time that we get to that one.
The Ms. Wakefield method. If you just complain loud enough, you eventually get your way.
Yeah, exactly. Until we start recording and you decide, actually, maybe this isn't the right time to talk about Die Hard with a Vengeance.
No, I want to talk about it right now.
I know. We're gonna save it for next week. Save it for Christmas. So keep your powder dry. We'll talk about it soon. But until next time, friends, this has been Christmas Creeps. If you want to contact us any way, shape, or form, we are on all the socials at Christmas Creeps, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Twitter, X. We're not really using that much anymore. Go to our website, christmascreeps.com, and find the link to our Discord channel. It's in the show notes for every episode. Join our Discord. Come talk to us. We talk about video games. We talk about food, books, music, all kinds of fun stuff all year long, all year round, 24/7, 365. And email us anything you want at xmascreeps@gmail.com. Johnny 5, am I forgetting anything?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, we're gonna watch Die Hard, and then probably we're gonna do a video game episode again.
I think so. I think, we had a good time with that last one, so we're probably gonna do it again.
And then we're gonna watch. What is there even left to watch? I don't want to watch Deck the Halls.
I really don't. No. I mean, we can definitely do Red One at some point, I guess.
We try to find that trivia Christmas movie.
Yeah, there's candidates out there. And, there's folks out there who, for some reason, think that we just do horror movies, which we could totally start leaning into that.
I wouldn't have a problem with that, except for the fact that, like, half of them are Krampus, which, like, I don't know, miss me with that shit.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but, they're the good thing about Christmas movies is they always make more, and some of them are pretty fucking bad. And friends, when they're bad, that's where we'll be.
I'm surprised we haven't had any more talking dogs recently.
We keep looking for a good one, and one hasn't really jumped out at us lately. But if any of our listeners have any requests for a bad talking dog movie, please send it our way, because we would love to hash that one out. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode. So thank you for listening, friends. I have been Joseph Wade.
I'm Johnny Five, the Human Robot.
Wishing you happy holidays, keep it real, and we'll see you for Christmas. Good night.
Simon says listen to the next episode.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. You guys. Yeah.
Peppermint schnapps makes me sloppy.